Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for joining. We're just saying hello and giving it a few minutes for attendees to join. As you saw from the sign-up email, we've got a huge amount of attendees, which is absolutely incredible. We are so happy and actually quite overwhelmed. We didn't anticipate that it was going to be this many. So we'll give it a couple of minutes just for everybody to log on. But appreciate you all joining in and logging in to spend some time with us. I hope everybody's sort of surviving during these difficult times. I will ask you all to mute your screens for a moment, please, just while we sort of get everybody in and starting up the events. So I think we'll give it a couple of minutes longer. The numbers are creeping up now.
Yes, I was looking at the statistics, and in the last year there's over 500,000 startups, and we pretty much have most of them on this event. So thank you everyone for coming along, and we hope you enjoy the advice, the support, and our shared experiences today. And this is going to be fun, engaging. This is why we didn't want to do it as a webinar. We wanted it to be like a networking style, so you can build some collaborations and network and connections after this. So exciting stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, okay. I think what we'll do is, I'm just having a look at the list. Numbers are pouring in still, aren't they? Okay, so if we crack off with a bit of an introduction then, as people go in, hopefully they'll be able to pick up quite easily. I did send out the agenda to you all, so I hope you've managed to have a little look at that. We are going to try and keep to the time as best as possible. Appreciate that everyone has jobs to do and things. So just to give you a bit of an overview really about why myself, Gemma for Fig Officers, Jamie for Correct Careers, and Startups Magazine have come together to collaborate for this event. And really it was because over the last couple of years that I've worked mainly with Jamie, but also in our own individual career paths, we spent a lot of time developing, working alongside, or supporting startup businesses in a variety of different aspects. And actually considering where the market is at the moment, the likelihood of the support that we're going to see this year, and also as well, obviously, with the highest rates of redundancy at the moment, it just made sense really to be able to come together, collaborate, and offer some more, I guess, more specific or a bit more of an idea about what you should be doing or what you might want to be thinking about during your startup journey. So that's the sort of the reason behind it really. All three of us currently are working with startups or have been working with startups most recently, and as I said, pre or before COVID as well. So I'm just going to hand over to Jamie now just to do a quick intro on Zoom for those that don't know. I'm sure by now we're all adverse with it. However, if you're like me and you only jump on to listen and to talk when you need to, then you might not know all of the bits and bobs. So I'll pass it over to Jamie now, who will just spend a few minutes just going through those controls with you.
Yeah, good morning everyone, and again, I'm sure everyone's in now, so thank you again for joining our event today. So just regarding Zoom, there's just a couple of buttons to be aware of during this event. Probably best if the top right hand corner there's a view button, and you can change it to speaker or gallery. It's entirely up to you what you would prefer to have. Gallery is what I've opted for to see everyone. We are recording, so if just so you know, if you want to turn your camera off, please do. And if we could politely ask you to unmute during the whole event, and unless you will be speaking. So there is an opportunity for you to speak towards the end, which we would advise, because you can also introduce yourself to everyone on the event. At the bottom, there is a chat and participants box, so you can have both of those open. And also at the bottom of the screen, there's a reactions button. So we will ask later for some questions to us from the attendees. So please use the reactions button at the very bottom of Zoom and raise your hand, as I'll do that there. And then we can see that you have actioned that, and we can introduce you to ask the question. And just to let you know, in the chat box throughout, please do add in your contact details and also any questions you have throughout, especially if you don't want to go on camera towards the end in the Q&A section, and we will pick up some of those questions so we can do that at the end. And if you do put your contact details, and everyone else does as well, there's a little button just below the chat box, which is 3 dots, and it says save chat. So you can save the chat, and that means you can have people's details afterwards if they want to put in their LinkedIn URL, etc. Just going to quickly run through the agenda so you know what you're expecting, and then we will go to our own business introductions. So we will start with introducing ourselves. It will be Anna from Startups Magazine first, Gemma from Fig Offices, myself from Correct Careers Coaching. That'll be about 5 minutes each, just so you have a bit of a background about ourselves, our experience, and why we're doing this event. And then probably the next 15 minutes, we're going to have sort of a discussion between our own businesses. And we've got a survival guide, which we're going to show you for startups, and some questions we're going to ask each other and have a general chat about, which I'm sure you're going to find quite interesting. And then the last 15 minutes, 20 minutes or so, to bring it to a close, will be a Q&A section. And in that section, we're going to ask some questions from you live, and you can say your name and company and your strap line just to introduce your business. So that's a good opportunity for you to also network. And then you can ask either one of us or the whole panel a question. And if there's any time left, we'll have a look at some chat box questions as well, so do put the questions in the chat box. And there might be some bits at the end where we can recommend some businesses in certain sectors or books or anything along those lines to really help you on your startup journey. So thank you again, and without further introduction, I'll let Anna do it herself from Startups Magazine.
Thank you, Jamie, and hello everyone. As stated, I'm Anna from Startups Magazine. We are a print and online publication that essentially is designed to support and help tech-based startups. So we kind of saw a gap in the market, in the publication market for startups. You know, there's so many amazing startups out there with amazing products and ideas and technologies, and no one was really sharing these ideas with the world. So our aim is basically to get your journeys, your personal stories and your products and your ideas out there for everyone to hear about. But it's also for us to kind of give you help and guidance and advice along the way. So we are a bi-monthly publication. We do 6 issues a year, and each one is themed. And within the issue, we hope to give you some, as I say, proper guidance and help and support and knowledge from some of the experts and businesses in the area. And basically connect the dots between the startups and the bigger businesses that are there to provide the startups with the help themselves. So as I say, the magazine is split essentially to help you and to share your story with the world. We also have started a new podcast where we love to talk to startups, and again to some of the experts that have been through the journeys themselves, to give you some more guidance and expertise along your way. And as Jamie previously mentioned, we've also created a survival guide that covers the 10 steps that we'll be talking more about later, but basically covers the 10 steps that you may need help with along your journey. So we delve into them to hopefully give you some in-depth analysis as to what each step may involve for you guys. And basically we just want startups to survive and do well, and to share your stories out there with as many people as we can. So yes, I could talk about Startups Magazine all day, but I think for now that is hitting the nail on the head. So I'll pass you over to Gemma.
Okay, great. Yeah, so for those of you that don't know me, I'm the centre manager for Fig Offices. We are a serviced office provider. We currently have 3 locations over the UK. However, we are expanding into an additional 15 locations during Q1 of this year, which is a very exciting time for us. During I think the key point to mention here is, although we offer an office ultimately, which is our key product, what we do, and which is what is our USP, is actually offer additional support to new businesses and SMEs. So we will spend time coaching, working with, and really sort of pulling apart business plans, or putting business plans together for new businesses. It's a great opportunity for somebody that's on the back foot of your sector or your chosen industry, to be able to look at it objectively and obviously bring a wealth of knowledge from different sectors and industries that we've worked at. So some of the businesses that I've worked with, to name, recruitment agencies, accountancy firms, umbrella companies, financial companies, lots of different companies that we've been able to support really through that initial 6 months of starting up. And I think the benefits of having a serviced office, or being based in a serviced office, is those key relationships that you may spend a couple of weeks or a couple of months being introduced to. We're able to deal with that very early on in your journey. So for example, actually Jamie's a really good example of this, and I'm hoping that he'll talk more about it during his introduction, where really he came to, we've got a previous relationship, but we sort of re-met. Jamie spoke to me about sort of what he was up to, and really I was able to put him in touch with people that I knew would be able to amplify his business, and vice versa. So there was a mutually beneficial arrangement between the businesses, which ultimately meant that at the end of the day, they were sales, money was in the bank, and they were able to move their business forward. So that's sort of a key aspect of what I do and what my job is. So that's sort of really a little bit about me. And what I'll do now is pass over to Jamie so that he can finalise and sort of close off sort of where we go from there.
Yeah, thank you, Gemma, for and what you said as well. And one of my favourite habits from the renowned Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People is certainly synergy. And I don't think I'm a startup, a year and a half in. I don't think I would have had is sort of much of a successful journey so far as I've had if it wasn't for individuals like Gemma and Fig offices. And especially in our geographical location, sort of Swindon, Wiltshire, the Southwest, the business network is fantastic. They do want to support, they do want to refer. My first clients were actually from Fig offices, which generates revenue and you can reinvest. I've had some workshops there, and it's just and the events they hold there is just great to bring people together. And a reason why me and Gemma and Anna are doing this event is to not only share our experiences and support and advice to startups, but also for you all to network and build relationships, because that is the point of it's a new business environment now, it's a new sales environment. And what we all need to do is collaborate, build strategic partnerships, referrals. And the way to do that is to get to know each other, build know, like, and trust. And the way to do that is through referrals and effectively business friends. So a bit about me. So Jamie Martin of Correct Careers Coaching. I've had 10 years business-to-business sales experience. That really includes everything from door knocking when I was with EDF Energy, telemarketing for 2.5 years, and that was for a Vodafone campaign. I did media sales and also recruitment. And Gemma's done recruitment as well. And most people will say who's done recruitment, it is one of the hardest sales roles. And it is about long lasting, building relationships, about trying something new and innovative, especially in a digital world now. Most of my business really is from LinkedIn. So it's upskilling, it's how to utilize it. And yeah, I've had a really successful career in sales. Just some of my recruitment achievements includes 5 promotions, international recruitment, placed in C-level, so senior executive individuals, winning awards, setting up a new sales team and branch, and placing all different size of businesses and several members for the same company. So I've had a really fruititious career in recruitment. And after the 10 years of sales experience I've had, as well as the psychology degree, I said to myself, what did I want to do? And Gemma probably knows me quite well from our experience in recruitment, but I was very ambitious, very driven. And I felt it was the right time to say, okay, I'll take that leap of faith, and I'll go and start up my own business. So I started up Correct Careers Coaching in the summer of 2019 now, and it's been an absolute incredible journey. And don't get me wrong, it is a roller coaster. It didn't start with all perfection happening. There's a few changes I wish I could have gone back and done straight away. A few things I've definitely learned on my journey, and that's the point of our event today, is to share these experiences. Within this event now, we've got people from all over the world at different points of where they're starting up, and looking for different resources and support, really. So we'll share as much value as we can today with you. So I set up Correct Careers Coaching, and sometimes everyone always asks why the name. And again, I refer back to the Stephen Covey's book. I started with the end in mind, so I really wanted to build a brand, and I've got Correct Careers Coaching, 3 arms to the business, predominantly sales training and sales strategy, and then career coaching, because I was a middle management manager within recruitment, and I felt like I needed a mentor or a coach at that point to guide me in my career journey. And then employee retention and engagement, because my overall message is employee retention within my business model, and I will either help support that myself or work with strategic partners. When I started on my journey, it was going to events such as at big offices. It was hosting workshops, it was joining podcasts and events, and being in the media. And obviously Startups Magazine has helped post some of my blogs and articles on their network and website as well. So it's really building relationships with the local community, and what I found in that time, because obviously I was ambitious with the 3 arms of the business, was that my sales training, from my experience in the various sectors I've worked within, was really sought after. So I was training anything from startups all the way to 78 million turnover companies, leaders of the business, to employees, and I've already trained over 28 different industry sectors in that time, B2C and B2B, so business to business, business to consumer. So it shows there's a real gap in the market, and that's what I found, and started to build my area of business around what is needed, and that's from testing surveys, looking at where the market's going, the referrals, looking at the feedback I'm getting. And then I also adapted the business model to look at social selling and using social media for prospecting, because again, in a digital world now, that is absolutely most needed in the sales environment. It is a different sales journey, it's a different business journey now, and we all have to utilize resources we've got. And then I continued to adapt and now work with businesses on sales strategy as well. So we'll look at anything with employee development, ICT and resources, social media for building new business relationships. So again, we're constantly adapting all the time, and that's what's really needed in a startup business. You've really got to focus on wearing different hats. But if you can't achieve all of the capabilities you've got, then you can outsource as well. And just some of my achievements in the first year and a half, the business has already won 3 awards, and so absolutely delighted. And like I said, worked with so many different people, and it's been a challenging but exciting journey. And one thing I will say, which is certainly going to come out probably in our next section now, is start with your passion, the reason why you're doing it. And there's a really fantastic quote by Napoleon Hill, which I'm going to read, and it's one of my favorites. The starting point of all achievement is desire. So what is your desire? And if you've got your desires and passions, you can achieve anything. So we're going to go on to the next section now, and thank you for listening to our introductions. So Anna, if you can share your survival guide for startups, and the 3 of our businesses are going to have a discussion around this to give you some advice during your startup journey.
Can everyone see that? Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah, yes, thank you.
Perfect. So I guess I'll go first. we obviously, like I explained, our goal, our mission is to help startups along their journey. So as well as obviously having each magazine that hopefully gives you some help and guidance along the way, we decided to create a survival guide, which is basically 104 pages of pure gold, if you ask me, but obviously I will be biased. But basically it covers 10 chapters, which, as I say, goes really in depth to each part of a startup's journey. And obviously there will be more, every step will apply to you, but some may apply to you more than others. So, you know, from having your idea and that concept, you then must think, where are you going to go next? Like, what on earth, where do I go from here? And it can be a very daunting place. So I think one of the biggest things for us and like our personal journey was having like the community. And I know Jamie's touched on this a little bit, but like the startup world and the startup community is so amazing. Everyone is just so friendly, so polite, and everyone wants to help each other, which I think is such an amazing thing. And I think everyone has skills, and like humans are kind of just designed to work together and help each other. So even if you are a solo founder and you are still kind of at that, I just have an idea, where do I go from here, reaching out to people, coming to events like this, going to events when you're allowed to in person again, like networking events, is definitely one of the best things I would say that you could do on your startup journey. As I previously mentioned, when it came to our journey, we were working for a tech publication that covered more engineering. It was a well-established publication, and we were going to a lot of events and meeting so many amazing startups and learning about their technologies and their products to write about for this tech magazine. And we very quickly realized that when it comes to startups, yes, we want to know about your products and your technologies and the amazing things that you are going to do, but it's so much more than that. It's about the founder or the co-founders, the team, the journey, the personal story, because everyone has a story, everyone has a journey, everyone's been through so much, and that is so interesting to learn from, to hear about. And so yeah, we created Startups Magazine to essentially share these stories, because as I say, it's often about the people, not just the technology. So our journey for us was so exciting, and I think laying these kind of 10 things out, as I said, please don't quote me, there is more than 10, but these are just the basics to kind of help you through. So I know we're kind of just having a conversation now, but Jamie and Gemma, did you want to kind of jump in about how did your startup journey, how was it for you? Do you wish that you'd had these 10 things laid out for you? How's it been so far?
So I'm happy just to add a bit onto this. I think from the main point that I can take from working with so many startups from a plethora of different backgrounds and concepts and ideas is it's so great that there are so many people out there that have innovative or have the courage to start a new business. And some of the ideas and the concepts that have come across my desk, or I've been sat down and having conversations with people, are just incredible. They blow my mind with some of the stuff that people go through. But what's quite clear is that, people will be specialists in their own right. So they will be specialists in an idea or in their own specialism, what their career has been, what they're designed to do, what they've trained to do. And they'll have all of this stuff, they've got this, I've got this great idea, I want to sell it out to the world, I want to get it out there. But actually, they don't know how to get it from that point to getting it out to the world. And that bit in the middle is a really difficult process for people that have no idea about what to do. And for new businesses, it's a very scary time. There are so many businesses that have come in and said, yeah, I've been going for a year. And then I'll say to them, okay, that's great. What have you done in the year? What's your marketing strategy? What's your strap line? What's your DNA of your business? and they're sort of looking at me like, what are you on about? I've just got this great idea that I want to get out to everybody. And I think that's really, really important to understand. So there will be so many people at concept stage or at an idea stage, and it's like that sort of light bulb moment, with the light bulb, and it all going off, and you think, great, yeah, I can definitely make money from this. Okay, but how? And having something like this, having a guide, or even just somebody that you can, like a sounding board, somebody that you can go through these things with, is really important, really important for you and your journey ultimately. I think there's lots of different sort of aspects of each of the 10 things that are sort of laid out in front of us. So, and you'll find many people that will have businesses that will support each of those ideas. So you'll have many businesses that will just work on the concept. You'll have many businesses that will focus solely on where you can get funding. You'll have many businesses on how they can market you and how they can get you out to market. And you'll have many businesses that can produce your, or can help you get into production. But actually having that all laid out in a sort of a startup from point A to point B is very, very useful. And I will encourage you to get hold of that type of information. As Startups Magazine have it. Obviously, I'm going to be an ambassador and say go to them first and foremost for that information. This information is not new information, and actually it's available everywhere. So for whatever reason, if you can't get hold of Startups Magazine, please spend some time going through these steps and these stages, rather than just having a fantastic concept and a great goal, but not really knowing or understanding how to achieve it. And I know that Jamie's seen this as well with some of his startups. And actually it's so heartbreaking because, we come across these people that are so passionate and, really sort of, want to set the world alight with their ideas. And it really actually gets, me excited about it. And then I feel like, oh, great, I want to make your business exciting too. I want to be a part of this journey. But actually, without these basic steps and without these basic concepts and funding and research and marketing, it will fall down. You will not be able to get it to the end goal. There is further information available on this. But Jamie, is there anything else you wanted to touch on here?
Yeah, absolutely. Great points, Anna and Gemma there. And, it is firstly going to come from yourself. So your passions, the reason why you want to go start a business. Everyone's going to have a different business idea, whether it's a service or a product, how ambitious they are with it. But it really is talking about, first of all, starting with the why, as I mentioned, and also being aware of your goals. Top tip to take away: writing down your goals 42% of the time are achieved more, and working with a coach or a mentor, whoever that may be, 95% of them are achieved because you're holding accountability to actually, what are the goals, reviewing them regularly and actually achieving them. And I think what's really covered in this section is that, first of all, everyone's got fantastic capabilities and drive to say, right, I'm going to, go and set up my own business. And there's a lot more startups doing that nowadays because they are an expert in their field, depending on where they've come from. And they can really give a lot to the business community. And they want to, play to their own strengths. So that's the reasons, for going to do a startup. But as just Gemma was saying there, if you don't follow some sort of blueprint or strategy and do, pick up with Anna and Startups Magazine after to get something like this, or there is other information online, certainly. But and the reason is because, for my journey specifically, I was quite fortunate to do well in recruitment, and I saved some money and to have a career break. And during that time, before I set up my own business, I did a lot of research. And I would just say, definitely do your due diligence before, jumping into a market, which you do, may have limited knowledge or what's going on in the current world about. Or you could work and you could do a sort of a part-time business. So you want to make sure you have some cash flow available, because starting up a business in your first 1 to 3 years, and depending on what sort of product or service you are providing, it is quite costly. So you have to have the investment readily available, or go to certain places for funding, and then even crowd funder, or there's growth hubs, people to give you funding. There's the NEA and grants available. So there are funding available. but definitely do your research. And one piece of advice I would definitely give, and I think Anna's sort of covered this in her section, is, you know, during the start, definitely go out and do some networking. Go and connect with your competitors on LinkedIn. And I did that this year, actually, during, you know, when the lockdown started. And we was having loads of fruitful conversations on a global basis now. I've built some really good partnerships with, and they're willing to support you. You know, nowadays, you don't necessarily see people as competitors because they're in different geographical locations. They may have a slightly different type of target market. So basically go and learn from people who are successful already, and, you know, look at their websites, look at their profiles on LinkedIn, sign up to their newsletters, because and you know, build relationships with them, because they will give you help as much as you will give them help. And like Anna said, the business community really wants to support everyone, because we all know what it's like in going through these types of journey. And Gemma's, you know, fantastic ambassador for networking and bringing people together, and most of my meetings and clients have been through Gemma. So build key relationships with key sort of individuals in your network to start helping and sharing advice with one another. But as I mentioned, sort of in my startup journey, you know, I did the research first of all, identified gaps in the market. So I know I could do the full sales cycle of sales training because I was taught that in my corporate world, but social selling was absolutely a really fundamental aspect of building new client relationships and generating cash flow. And without clients and cash flow, you don't have a business. And one thing I will say is, when working with startups, is that they will spend a lot of time, we're talking many months, not necessarily prospecting and building relationships. And the sales cycle takes quite a long time, depending on the high value or volume of your product, or what it is, or the service cycle. You know, it could be anything from 1 week to, you know, 9 months, and you know, and thereafter. And if you're not building these relationships now, then it's going to take you a lot longer to build clients and revenue effectively moving forward. So one advice I would say is, do go out and sell. You know, we're always going to, you know, learn from you know, our experiences, and we're going to adapt, and we're going to improve. So if you know, an analogy I use, if you haven't had any formal sort of sales training in any way, shape or form, it's like driving a car without an engine, because, you know, you don't have all the equipment you need to be successful. And it isn't just about selling, it's about looking at your marketing, looking at, you know, if you've got an accountant, have you got a solicitor should you need it, you know, all these types of different resources around you. You are an expert in your field. As a business owner, as a startup owner, you are going to be wearing many different hats, and you need to outsource certain you know, elements to even HR, etc., you know, to make sure you cover all bases. But this sort of survival guide here is really saying, okay, looking at logically the steps I need to look at. So what's my idea? Is it a USP, a unique selling point? Where are the gaps in the market from doing my research? Who are my competitors? What are you offering, and what's your value proposition that's different to everybody else? So effectively, what makes you special, and why should people work with you? I loved what Anna said about, you know, saying something about you personally, so people get to know you. And that's why LinkedIn and social media is very useful, because, you know, you can obviously share business updates, but also get people to know you. You know, one of my business friends posted a winter picture about their dogs earlier, and I was like, great, I've got dogs. So you immediately build a rapport with someone based on different interests and hobbies you have. So it is about you as a person, and even if you are part of a team in a business, it's about you as an individual, because people want to know you, and people will buy effectively from you. It is about people, like, you know, buying from people. And then evaluation. So great, get your reviews, get your surveys, you know, go out there, use SurveyMonkey. I did that when I started my business. You know, really get the data, get the statistical evidence to say, you know, is my product or service going to do well? Will people effectively give me money for what I offer? Because that is what it's about to sustain a business. The design and prototyping section, you know, speaks for itself. Funding, do look into in some shape or form. And then, you know, marketing, I would say invest 30 to 50% of your profits back into marketing and advertising, because you need to build a brand in building a business. And then we've got the other areas there. And I love the last one, is support. So I'm sure that support from other businesses, your own personal network as well. So I hope that covers a really good range of some advice that I would say what you should be looking at as a startup journey. If you don't have all of these elements in play, I would say go and spend some time in January, you know, getting a marketing plan, a social media strategy, who you're going to outsource to, looking at your cash flow, you know, and various options for funding and networking and signing up to events, etc., because these are so many elements you need to do on a daily basis to make sure you have a strategy in play for your business. So I'm going to ask another question in this section to both Gemma and Anna. What have you learnt, and what would you do differently if you could go back to the beginning of your sort of startups journey or working with startups?
That's so funny. I was just about to ask you guys the same question. I love this question. I think the lessons that I have personally learned have definitely been that there will always be hurdles and there will always be challenges, no matter what your business is in. People will face similar hurdles. Someone's probably been through the same as you or something similar. And I know at the time it probably seems like the world is over and there's no end in sight, but you will get over this. Every problem.
Oh dear.
It's okay, you come back on.
Oh, sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Basically every problem that you face, there's a solution, there's always an answer, and sometimes it's just about talking about it out loud, talking about it to others. And it's okay to say, I'm struggling, please can you help me? It's okay to ask for help, whether that be with your team, your network, your family. Like, it is okay to admit that, you know, you are struggling, you are going over a hurdle, and it, like I say, it's not the end of the world. And I know it may seem like it because, you know, you've invested your life, you're going for it, it's your business, you know, you need to have the passion and the drive, like Jamie said, to make your business go somewhere, for it to succeed, to want it to keep going. But yeah, it isn't the end of the world. There will be a solution around it, and in 6 months' time or in a year's time, you will look back and think that was so insignificant. So try not to lose sleep on something that can be resolved. That would be my biggest learning curve. And like, doing stuff differently, it is definitely just to admit out loud more often that you may be struggling or you may need help, and asking people, because there's absolutely no shame in that. And most times other people will be feeling the same way, or, as I say, going through the same thing as you.
And Gemma, some of your thoughts?
Yeah, I think my advice to people, from what I found or what I would have worked with differently, is really just to make sure that from as I say before, and I can't echo it enough, is from that point where, you know, where people have got a concept, is really just to understand, you know, what next, what are we going through next, and you know, there's the thing that I say most often to startup businesses is, if you don't know how to do one of those 10 sort of stages, then go and find somebody that can, because they will be happy to sit down with you, and more often than not just have a conversation and a coffee and give you some advice and guidance, and it's free. You know, and I'm not saying go out there and sort of try and, you know, I need some help, can I meet you for half an hour type thing. Build that relationship, build that rapport, get to know that person, and they will become your ambassador, your business's ambassador. We have so many what I call fig fans in the area, purely because, you know, they understand that, you know, they would have met with me, or they would have met with my team, and actually, you know, have got something from it, whether that be a contact or an idea or something that they need to do for their business, or, you know, or a referral, or they've generated cash, and so, you know, and that is a really key element. So I think somebody said earlier they were struggling with creating a pitch. Do you know what my best advice for you to do? Go onto your LinkedIn, have a look at who is really good at creating pitches, just reach out to them, connect with them, and speak to them, and just say, look, you know, here I am, this is, you know, I'm at this stage in my journey, and actually I'm just a bit stuck, I don't know where to go from here. There will be so many people out there that will want to jump, especially now, will want to jump on a Zoom call. You know, we don't know what other people's circumstances are like. There may be somebody that sat there and actually the only conversations that they're having and what they're generating. And actually just reaching out to somebody and saying, do you know what? I have no idea what to do with this. I need to create a pitch, or I need to create a marketing strategy. I have no idea how to do it. I'm a startup. I have no money. You know, what's your best advice? You know, what's your 3 hot tips of this month? What's the first thing that I need to be doing? And the more and more that you can do that, and the more and more that you can speak to all of these different people, you know, two heads are always better than one. The more advice and guidance you'll get, and actually you'll come away thinking, do you know what, I feel comfortable enough now to create my own marketing plan, or whatever the case may be. I'm not trying to say don't go in, you know, buy the support or seek the support that you need from the specialists out there, because actually paying somebody to work for you, it, you know, will always trump excuse me, anything else that you can get out there. But you know, quite obviously our target audience at the moment is startups, and many people at this precise moment, we've had a few questions on about funding as well, which I'll touch on shortly. But really, you know, if you're not in a position where you can go out and start to outsource some of this work, then actually you can do it yourself. You know, it's the help is there, the support is there, and if you do need to speak to somebody, the other sort of best advice that I can give is do get in touch with your local business centres. The more that you can get involved with your local business centres, the more they should be referring. You should be able to refer. You should be able to pick up relationships there really, really easily. And ultimately, if you were, you know, if I had somebody that was to come in to see me, or even to message me and say, Gemma, I need someone to help me with a marketing plan, I've got a plethora of businesses that I would say, you need to speak to this person, speak to this person, speak to this person. This person's got an offer on at the moment. I saw they shared something on LinkedIn. They're happy to offer you 2 hours for free, or, you know, whatever. And actually, that really gives you an idea to go, okay, cool. You know, let me tap into that network. Let me tap into that market and see what I can get. So I think that's my sort of go-to advice for that. Relationships are key, absolutely key, for your journey of startups. They might not be putting money in your bank right now. They might not be putting money, you know, they might not be putting money in your or paying for a service for you. But I cannot stress enough that a relationship that you make today will come twofold at some point later on. And you know, Jamie's a key example of that with the work that I've done with him.
Absolutely. I'm just going to share an example of how that works, Gemma. So I was very busy, obviously at the beginning quarter of my startup journey, and I had this networking leader contacted me several times, come to our networking event as a visitor, and I kept thinking about it. It was a lunchtime and I wasn't really sure, but I decided to go to it. And during that lunchtime event, it was a fantastic event. I really enjoyed it. I didn't sign up as a member, but I'm really glad I went as a visitor. I met someone there, and we spoke in the break, and she was, you know, we brought loads of synergy with each other, and it was just like a bit of an interaction. And then we decided to swap details, and we decided to speak regularly. So we spoke once a month, just keeping up to date with each other. Nothing really happened from it. There was no money exchange transaction from each other. But about 5 months later, she went and joined a business which she introduced me to the CEO. And I had 2 Zoom calls with the CEO following the introduction. And then I went and to work with them, and they were, you know, one of my best clients for money and for what it did to my business. And that just literally shows there, Gemma, like you said, building relationships. You know, it's all about building rapport with someone, because you never know when that person will remember you and will come back to you. So every interaction is absolutely vital. I'm just going to say a last point on this section here, and then we're going to move on to the Q&A section. As I'm speaking, if you've got any questions, you know, this is your opportunity as a business owner to ask directly, you know, questions to each one of us, or as a panelist, you know, anything that can really help you on your startup journey. This was the purpose of the event. So you can either write some questions in the chat box now, or, you know, we will ask some people to go on camera where they can introduce themselves, and we'll just go until the end of 12 o'clock, really. So a couple more things I would say about running your own business is that you are the most important person in your life, in your business. So well-being is absolutely vital, and your mindset. So do take that relaxation time for yourself, or schedule that time in. Something that's really helped me in my business is having a morning routine that really helps me for the whole day. And there's a really fantastic morning routine I follow called The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod, and that's HALELROD, Miracle Morning. I'll put that in the chat box in a second. just give you an idea of something that you could do in the morning to really help you for the rest of the day. That's really set me apart. And actually Richard Branson did say that his success was deemed down to like working out and exercise, and I'm sure a morning routine he follows. But one thing I will say, you know, business is tough and it's challenging sometimes. So, you know, any little win you have, you know, in your goals, or something that you've done differently, or something that you've achieved, celebrate it. You know, it is meant to be about fun and business as well. So, and that's going to keep you going, you know, through in challenging times, etc. But, you know, appreciate what Anna and Gemma said during some of our survival guide and questions we've had about our journeys, what we've learned, what we would do differently. I probably would put down, you know, some of my success being to networking at the very beginning, really helped by Gemma and Fig offices, because once you build relationships with the local community, you know, people are willing to help you. And I get calls and I just, you know, say, yeah, I'll have a 20-minute discovery call with you, give you some advice, etc. Because you want to help other people who have also helped yourself during the start, because we all encourage and we all want people to succeed, because naturally you may become customers of each other, or you may build strategic partnerships, and we'll continue in the business environment with investment. So yeah, I hope you really took some value away from the section we covered there. So in the last 15 minutes, we'll go to the Q&A section. Just before we look at the chat box, I know, Gemma, there's a couple of questions you can ask from that bit. What we'd like you to do, if you want to go onto camera now, if you just raise your hand and you want to ask a question to either one of us, or as a collective, please do. You can introduce your name and your business and your strapline. So what I mean by strapline is, my business is Jamie Martin, Correct Careers Coaching, making your business more successful by improving your gross sales. So it's, you know, like a 10-second sort of like intro about what your business does. So if anyone wants to, you know, go on camera and ask us a direct question, please do. If anyone would like to raise their hand at this point, and we'll pick someone from the gallery.
Okay, so I've got a couple of questions that I've picked up throughout the chat, so we don't need to sort of scroll through, but if you want to take over from now onwards, I think Angelina's just asked one, Jamie.
Okay.
So a couple of people have asked about funding options. Now, I'm quite conscious that we've got quite a few people here from outside of the UK. So I'm going to do my best to answer those for everybody. So it's really important to understand that there should be, or there is in the UK, the startup grant, which is is the main sort of point of where people will go to get funding for their business. Now, the startup grant is actually really, really useful, and most of the time what you will find is, if you have a local LEP hub, you know, that's local to you, that's looking after your area, you will find that there will be a specialist there that will enable you, or will help you, advise you, guide you through how to get that grant. So typically what will happen is, it is based on your personal circumstances. However, I don't believe that you're credit checked. It's mainly done on your business plan. So the stronger business plan that you've got, the more you know, likely you are to get that. The more likely you are to get what you want and how much you need. I would advise you to reach out to your local LEP business support hub. You should have one in your local areas, and if you don't, then reach back to me and I should be able to put you in touch with somebody that's your next sort of closest. Just on that point as well, your local business hub will have a wealth of knowledge on their website that will help startups. So it's definitely worth checking that out, signing up to, and sort of checking out what they've got. They do hold workshops, advice on social media, marketing, business plans, all of that type of stuff. So really just the key one, or the key sort of the main grant that you would look at the moment that's currently available in the UK will be the startup grants. Let me just double check the address. I will put the information on there, but basically startuploans.co.uk. Go and have a look at that and check that out. Other than that, you would start to look at things like business loans, banks, investors, or crowdfunding. Now, crowdfunding is a really, really interesting one, and actually a very big part of some great businesses. There are some great examples and achievements out there of what's happened. If you don't know about crowdfunding, then do go and check it out. Ultimately, the main concept is that you put your business idea out there, people will crowdfund, donate, not donate, put in money towards a larger fund, whether they take, there's different options, whether they will take shares or just give you the money if they feel like they want to, and that will all go into a big pot that will enable you to start your business. There are some specialists out there that will help with crowdfunding. Again, I can put you in touch with some if you need any of that support. And then the other thing to look at as investors, no matter how small or big your business is, there will likely be somebody out there that, if it's a good concept and a good idea, you'll probably find that there will be people out there that want to be interested or involved in that process. And it might not be investors monetary wise. You might have people that would invest their time, their energy and their focus. It will enable you to convert business and get money from it. So do always take the opportunity to talk to people. Sometimes people will just have business concepts and not know what else to do or have the time to do anything with them. So they might even give a business to you and say, can you run with this for me? I haven't got the time to do this. So it's definitely worth reaching out for that. But my main sort of go-to, as I say, will be the startup grants, loans, banks, investors, and crowdfunding. That being said, obviously the economy is in a very different place to what it was 12 months ago, 6 months ago, last month. And if 2008's sort of recession is anything to go by, then what we're likely to see over the next year is a huge influx of new startup business support. I'm expecting to sort of see it Q3 now. It would have probably been out Q1 this year, but of course everything's been delayed again. So depending on where you are in your timescales and what you need and what money you need, I would probably start looking around Q3 or expecting to see some news around Q3 about new funding for new startup businesses. Just a quick note on that as well. Many businesses will be in the same situation where they are wondering where their next client is coming from or how big that client's going to be. If you can collaborate or, as I say, have a mutually beneficial agreement or look for those offers, those startup offers, we have some that we'll share with you at the end of this, then jump all over those, and there will be many out there as well. I know, as I said, that there's a few people out there that are outside of the UK. Obviously I'm not sure what your infrastructure looks like where you are in terms of the economy and loans and funding and stuff like that. I'm guessing that bank business loans would always be available, but the other thing to think about, I guess, from outside of the UK is crowdfunding. That's probably my best advice for people outside of the UK, because ultimately I don't know what your infrastructure looks like.
The January issue of Startups magazine is all about funding, so we're covering 6 different types of funding and looking at the kind of pros and cons, what sort of businesses would suit the best type of funding. We've got the experts talking about it, and then also having a look at how funding and different types of funding have been affected with COVID, and looking at the current landscape when it comes to looking for investment. We have done 2 previous other issues on funding as well, which are available free on our website. You just have to subscribe, and then you can access all of our previous issues. So there is a little bit more information on there as well.
Brilliant. Some more questions from the chat box. Gemma, have you got some available?
There's one here from Angelina, who says, what is a good strategy to really put enough hours into your business? It's so easy distracted these days, especially now with the kids being at home. I know some of us are going through that themselves. Gemma.
I don't know where my 2 are.
You're doing an amazing job. But yeah,
well, you haven't seen him yet.
I mean, personally, I would just say having a plan, like Jamie said, writing down, having lists, writing down your goals. One thing that really works for myself personally is having a to-do list and then a realistic to-do list. So this is everything that needs to be done, and then this is everything that realistically I may get done today or this week, and not being too hard on yourself when you don't get it done. But I'm sure Jamie and Gemma can add more to this one from a strategic point of view.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose building a client base is having a client development plan. So you would look at a cadence, which means a sequence of actions you would do with building relationships. And then it would be touch points. So what are you going to do with them, say, over a 12-week strategy? So it might be initial introductory call, a LinkedIn connection, send them something by post. Trust me, it does work. Email communication, using other digital technology. Some of my clients actually prefer to connect over WhatsApp. It's just finding out about what people actually like. So with regard to client strategy, it's about, literally having, visually something written down for you to follow on a spreadsheet or a CRM system, so a customer relationship management system, to record data, because remembering finding details of information when building relationships with businesses is absolutely vital. But following a sequence of actions that you do time and time again. Once you have had success, we're not asking to reinvent the wheel, replicate that strategy to then build another client relationship. And also, if you can sort of visualize, say you picked up a client in a certain industry sector, maybe you should go after one of their competitors or one of their customers. So you really building a market map of how you can strategize in building new business relationships. So I hope that gives you an area probably of strategy for client relationship development. And I can certainly support more with that should you want any more advice on it. But Gemma, any advice on sort of strategy for a business in other areas?
Well, yeah, especially with the kids at home, I do feel your pain. The answer is there is no right answer. There is no, you should be spending X amount of time on your business, especially at these times. Business aside, get through each day as best as you can. If you can get through a day and be happy at the end of it and everyone's fed and no one's been to hospital, then to me, that's a bonus. I think that's my main efforts at the moment. I appreciate that everyone does need to make a living though. So what I would say is set out a plan for the next well, we're in this situation at least until the end of February. Set out a plan till the end of February about what you want to achieve during that time, what's realistic. Where do you want to be at the end of February? What is it that you want to have done? What do you want to see as your business? And then you can start to sort of plan how many hours you need each week and then each day. That's probably my best advice at the moment. But be kind to yourself and be realistic. You've got children at home. Mine are out there at the moment. I haven't seen them since 10:30. I don't quite know what they're doing. I left them with food. I hope they're not foraging. We've just got to take each day as it comes at the moment. So just be kind to yourself, as I said, and set yourself some realistic goals. And actually, if you can get those goals done throughout the day, if it means you do sort of half an hour in the morning, another hour at lunchtime or a little bit more during the afternoon, then that's okay too. We are at home, everyone's working from home. There's no 9 till 5 at the moment. I think that was scrapped a long time ago. So just do what you can when you can and make sure you take some time out for yourself.
Oh, sorry, Jamie.
No, it's fine. We are sort of coming towards the end now. I know just to say thank you, there have been some questions in the chat box and people have been answering. So, continue to do so before we close. Unless I know you want to say anything differently. I don't know if we've got any sort of books or podcasts, obviously Startups magazines, or any sort of actual businesses we could recommend to the attendees today, Gemma, Anna?
No, any questions that we've not answered, we'll follow up with individually, or if you want to connect with us on LinkedIn and then pick up the question there. If we don't know the answer, then we'll get the information for you. There is a few on there that we can answer. I think Mark asked for free advice on business contracts, e.g. NDAs and introduction agreements. There's quite a few out there. I can send a few over to you. Connect with me on LinkedIn or connect with all three of us actually, and then we'll follow that through. Again, just a last note really, make sure that you're connecting with everybody on this chat if you can. If you want to follow up with anyone, then obviously we absolutely encourage that. It's a difficult time at the moment to navigate through this stage, and it's a difficult time to navigate through when you're a startup business. The help is out there, the support is out there. If you're struggling with any points of what we raised earlier, then do go and seek it.
Yes, definitely. And I was just going to add to your previous point there, Gemma, as much as you said, don't be hard on yourself, there is also the worry of burnout. So please don't, you know, your business is your life, and obviously you want that passion and you want that drive, but at the same time, like Gemma said, you do have to look after yourself, and it's okay to sometimes turn your laptop off, turn your emails off, and just like focus on yourself for a little bit. It is a hard time for everyone. Thank you everyone from Startups Magazine, and someone asked me what my surname was, because I'm down as Startups Magazine. Sorry about that. It's Anna Flockett. Please feel free to connect, as Gemma said, with all three of us on LinkedIn. I'm happy to talk to anyone, and if you email hello@startupsmagazine.co.uk, we can answer any questions, and I can help you with get access to the survival guide.
Brilliant.
So yeah.
Okay. Great. Oh, by the way, just a quick one, Chloe. Sorry, just Chloe, if you're here, Chloe's Mobile Farm, if you're still here, can you reach out and get in touch with me? You put something out there earlier. There's absolutely something that both Jamie and I can help you with, really, really easily, actually. So just can you just reach out to one of us, please?
There probably will be a follow-up email with our details and our offering to say thank you for attending the event today. So thank you ever so much, everyone. Yeah, really appreciated you coming along, and looking forward to connecting with you all moving forward. Thank you, Anna and Gemma, for co-hosting this as well.
Thank you very much, everybody, and good luck. Take care. Speak to you soon. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.